Last year, we did $3 million gross commission income in Omaha. That was about $108 million in volume with the 601 sales. And that netted me $1 million. So I'm keeping 33% of the GCI with this split structure. And when a lot of people break these numbers down, they say that's not possible. One of the things I was able to do to offset my costs, because most businesses are going to have really high costs, and I'm paying 57% of our GCI is going towards agent commissions. So that doesn't leave a lot to cover overhead costs, maybe about 10%, but we don't pay for admin. We have $400,000 a year that goes towards admin. We're able to zero base that cost through charging a broker fee on all of our contracts. And then our marketing expense is about $120,000 a year to run ads and run our Boomtown site. And we're able to zero base that as well through creating marketing service agreements. So with
remember you told me about that these years, something that's absolutely brilliant. So
it's a big deal. I mean, that's over $500,000 a year in savings.
Right. So when you create these marketing, at what point, what size of a team do you need to have, or what size of a business do you need to have before you can go out and start getting these marketing service agreements?
Yeah, it's not about size. It's really about value. So the marketing service agreement is based on the value you can give to the company with whom you're wanting to create a relationship. So if you have a lender right now that you give one deal a month to, that one deal a month to that lender is going to earn them about the same commission. If they own their own company, a private mortgage company, they're going to earn about the same as what you would earn as an agent. So let's say it's a 2.4% commission, keeping the numbers easy on a $100,000 transaction. That's $2,400. What I like to charge, and you can't really do this legally, you can't draw a line in the sand and say, every deal I give you, you have to give me X. But when I think about how much I want to charge, I'm usually looking at about 20% of what it makes the lender. So if the lender makes $2,000, I'm going to want to keep about $400 of that. So every year I look at my relationships I have with lenders and my marketing costs that I'm incurring to help market that lender is typically going to be about 20% of whatever that lender earned off of me.
Gotcha. Okay. Let's now take a slight shift, and we're going to come back around to team building and to leverage. But first, now I want to open the thread about generating listings. How to use leverage to get listings, right, through a team environment and through the best strategies. What are you finding are the hands down the best 1, 2, and 3 strategies for consistently getting in, generating non-repeat and referral listing opportunities?
Sure. So number one, when I chose to phase out of working the buy side, so for an individual out there that's looking to start a team, they don't have one yet, you add your first couple of agents, maybe they're newer agents, I really like to see a buyer's agent earn the right to list. And if you've worked both sides of the business, they're totally different businesses. So for a buyer's agent that's never listed a house to go on a listing presentation up against an agent that sells hundreds of houses a year, it's going to be really challenging for them. And so one strategy, Andre, would be to add buyer's agents, but have the requirement that any listing leads that buyer agent is able to secure goes back to you as the team lead, and you work specifically with the listing side. And then on your buyer opportunities, you hand those off to your team. And that's what I did for about 2 years. So I was able to get a ton more listing leads just from the fact that my agents had to give me their listings and I would give them the buy side transactions. But that's an easy answer because that's pretty easy to implement. Number 2 is going to be circle prospecting. So one of the businesses I own is 1000callsaday.com. We have about 50 full-time virtual assistants in the Philippines. And we have our virtual assistants getting on a dialing system similar to Mojo Dialer. It's called 5-9. And they make over 1,000 calls a day. And they just pick whatever subdivision their client asks. So what I do is I go back every year and I look at the last 12 months turnover in subdivisions. And I pick whatever subdivision had the most turnover. My assumption would be that's where the most turnover is going to occur this following year. And so I have the virtual assistants focus in on the top 50 subdivisions based on the year previous as a turnover. And then we also create pre-recorded voicemails. So out of those 1,000 calls, about 800 of them, a voicemail picks up. Hey, it's so-and-so, I missed your call, sorry, blah, blah, blah. Now they can drop my pre-recorded voicemail specific to that subdivision. So I can say, hey, it's me leaving the voicemail, but it's not really, right? It's a system. And it's just, hey, it's Jeff Cohn. I'm calling all the homeowners in ABC subdivision today. I have some great news about the numbers from last year. Homes in your area sold on average for $273,000 in less than 15 days. And right now we have a huge problem because the inventory is really low. We're in a seller's market. And I have buyers for your neighborhood. If you've considered or you know anyone considering in your area to sell their property in the next 6 months, please reach out to me on my cell phone. And then I give them a number to my internal sales agent who's actually sitting behind me right now. And then they reach out to her. She sets up an appointment and I go on a listing presentation. So from a cold calling aspect, I think that's the best strategy for acquiring the listing leads. And then the third one is going to be expired and for sale by owners. You can use a similar strategy as far as the drop voicemail. and you have somebody like a virtual assistant or internal sales agent calling on expireds and FSBOs, a lot of people say that these methods don't work. They definitely work. They just have to be worked. And a lot of agents aren't willing to put in the work. The word work got used a lot there.
Right.
A lot of agents are always looking for the easy path, right? The path of least resistance.
Right. Well, that's human nature, right?
That is. Your lowest lying fruit, the best place to answer your question and be completely honest, we'll call it number 4, but it's the best, is going to be your sphere of influence. But your sphere of influence is not a leverageable lead source. So if you, let's say tomorrow you had 10 agents, you can't tap into your sphere to feed 10 people. The best sources for lead gen are going to be places that by pushing a button, you can double your leads.
Got it.
They typically be internet leads or using virtual assistants to do outbound sales calls.
So you've got about 50 virtual assistants over in the Philippines. Do you use any stateside ISAs?
I have out of those 50, 4 serve my team. And I use 2 of them for a flipping business that I own and a wholesaling business that I own. And then the other 2 I use for generating listing leads to my team. And then all the leads that those listing lead agent virtual assistants create, we then send here, and my internal sales agent scrubs those. The biggest challenge I've seen with internal sales agents making outbound calls, and I've seen this nationally, is that a lot of those internal sales agents within a year's time realize that the money's not in generating leads, it's in servicing those leads. And so they quit working as ISAs and they start to want to become real estate agents, which is just constantly training new people.
Pookie gets smart, right? Pookie gets wiser. Mama didn't raise no fool.
You learn it fast.
Well, I guess in some sense, I forget who it is, but I was talking to somebody who has a strong ISA team, and what they do is they basically treat their ISA team that they have internally in their business, in their office, as just their recruiting ground for their buyers agents, and then graduating them into listing partners.
Perfect.
They treat it as such, but they know going in there's going to be a high churn rate inside their ISA team. Many
of the top teams, and I'll rattle off a few: Mike Gerbic, Greg Harrelson, Jeff Quinton, and he's an individual, but there's a bunch of them out there. Josh Barker. These guys are making thousands and thousands of calls a day. They're spending 3 to 4 hours a day prospecting. A lot of the people have a goal. It's not a call goal; it's a contact goal. The guys that I know that make over $1 million a year, if you want a stat here, everyone I know that's making over $1 million a year either has a leverageable outbound prospecting system or they're doing it themselves, and their goals are they try to get 100 contacts a day.
100 contacts a day. Got it.
To get 100 contacts a day, you got to hit 500 calls. But on a Mojo dialer, you can make 500. You can make 500 calls in about 5 hours. You do 100 calls an hour.
Sure.
So, obviously, you get to a place where once you have a proven system to generate leads in any of these areas, you then hire someone to do it for you. And even if they can't do it as well, everyone always gets caught up. Well, they're not going to be as good as I am. That's okay. Just hire 3 of them. If they're a third as good as you, and you hire 3, then it'll be equal to just you doing it. But now what happens if you hired 6 or hired 9? You'll get 3 times the results of you doing it, and you're not doing anything other than writing a check.
I love that. So for somebody, really quickly, just to zoom out really far in the back just a little bit, just for one quick snapshot, to go from being the Jeff Cohn at 0 transactions when you got into business to 80, are you saying there's really no different than to go from 80 to 600? It's just that what you were doing individually, you're now having the team, you now have people on the team who specialize in doing parts of what you did to go from 0 to 80, but it's the same stuff?
Deep question. I love it. And I absolutely am not doing the same stuff or teaching my agents to do the same stuff, I should say, as I had previously been doing on my own. I'm teaching them to do more. To do more. So what I mean by that is I didn't know what I didn't know when I first started in the business. And most agents are in that same bucket. The NAR came out, 19 out of 20 agents aren't selling real estate within their first 2 years. So a lot of agents leave the business because they don't know where to focus their energy. I think a lot of people are willing to work hard. A lot of people at this summit are willing to work hard. They just don't know how to work smart. And it's market specific. Every market's different. The best way to learn how to work smart is find a person that's getting great results and go take them to lunch and ask them questions. You're not going to steal their ideas. There's enough. It's kind of like digging holes. If I showed someone how I dig my hole, they can go in their backyard and dig their own hole. I'm not worried that we're going to dig holes on top of each other.
Right.
To go around. And I don't know why so often agents get weird about sharing their ideas. I've always been an open book, and I'm the #1 agent in Nebraska. So it's obviously only going to help you by being willing to share and give and help other people around you because it elevates yourself. So going back, from the beginning, I focused a lot on internet leads. I was one of the first agents in my market taking digital pictures, creating digital YouTube videos back in 2006. I was the first one to post up 25 pictures instead of just doing the front and 2 interior pictures. So technology has always been my forte. I also was really great with Facebook from the very beginning. I signed up for Facebook when you had to have a college email address to sign up. So I used my college email address and had a Facebook account and started using that. I did expired calls and FSBO calls. I did not take advantage of my sphere the way I should have. Anybody that doesn't know who to call, create a list of 100 people that know you by name if you came in contact with them in public. That's your sphere. Call them every quarter or every month, depending on how much you want to call somebody, and create relationships of trust. Read the book 7 Levels of Communication by Michael Mayer. And Michael will teach you how to create relationships that are
He's on a summit, by the way.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, he's a great guy, friend of mine. I definitely recommend reading his book. He's going to show you how to create relationships of value. The relationship's not about you getting leads. It's about giving to other people. And the more you give, the more you receive. That law absolutely applies.
So knowing what it took you to go from 0 to 80 and then from 82 with a team 600, if you took a step back and looked at the industry and could give I know we don't like generalizations and blanket advice, but if you could tell agents to stop in general doing these 2 or 3 things, like these 2 or 3 things that agents keep doing, you're like, why do they keep doing this?
Yeah, I've got a couple.
What would those things be? What would you immediately cut out of every
Number 1 is figure out what you are worth per hour or what you want to be worth per hour, and quit doing the activities you can hire someone to do for less. And what I mean by that is my first year was 2006. And I sold around 50 properties. I netted $96,000. 2007 came around, and I recognized I hated paperwork. On the DISC assessment, if you're a Keller agent or you're not and you're familiar with DISC, you can take a free test on the Tony Robbins website. It has me as a 99D, 99I, which means I suck at paperwork. I think I'm a 33I or a 33S, 33C. Now, I only did paperwork when there was a commission check waiting, and I had to turn the paperwork in to get my commission check. That's the only reason I ever turned stuff in. And so I recognized quickly that was a dysfunction. That was not good business. I needed to be on top of things. So I hired someone for about 33 grand a year to take care of my paperwork. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but that was a third of my net income as a brand new agent. I gave a third of my business away. So I was always willing, even from the beginning, to take a step back, to take a step forward. And what that did by me giving that third of my income away to someone else is it freed me up probably 20 hours a week to focus on the things I was best at, which was engaging leads, lead generation, meeting with clients, servicing the actual lead. So number 1 thing is going to be your paperwork, your administrative work, running a document, sending a mailer, creating flyers. And it's the busy work that make agents feel like they got something done. But I will share with the people listening, to get something done that's going to make you money is signing contracts. That's executing a listing agreement, going and getting a listing agreement signed, or getting an exclusive buyer agency agreement signed, or executing a sale on a listing, or executing this purchase on a buy side. If you're not doing those 4 things, it's arguably you're wasting your time. That's where your best time is spent, making it rain. And that's what's making it rain. All the other stuff is noise, and you can leverage that and hire someone else to do it. Number 2, outside of the leverage piece in terms of having an admin person, the number 2 mistake I would say is just agents not getting intentional with their business. They come into the office, late. They grab their coffee. They have a 30-minute chat about what happened on their TV series the night before, and they don't have set goals of what they want to accomplish each day. So I would highly recommend. I like Keller Williams does the 411 sheet, and so essentially what 411 is you have a goal every week so that you can hit your monthly goals, and you have a goal every month to hit your yearly goals. It's something like that. And so break down what you want to accomplish in a year's time, and then figure out each day what you would need to do to be able to accomplish that yearly goal.
Gotcha.